Hey, welcome back everyone. It is I, a worker, back with a new video. Today I want to do something a little different, and I want to share my first impressions of a new JRPG called Chained Echo. I guess I should say that there'll be no story spoilers in this review, but I will be using footage from the first 10 plus hours of the game, so there might be some slight spoilers in areas and what the enemies look like. First off though, you might be asking yourself, but a worker, since when do you play JRPGs? And the answer to that is that I used to play them all the time. The problem is, as I got older, I just couldn't find the time you need to sink into JRPGs and dropped them in favour of shorter games. Chained Echoes was recommended to me by my friend Still Shin, an avid JRPG fan, and after watching him play the opening of the game, I decided I wanted to give it a try myself. Right from the off, the story hits, and it is such a perfectly written adventure with a large and interesting cast that you can't help but be hooked and want to get to the end of the adventure. You slowly get introduced to each main character and some of their reasons and motivations for being part of the story, as well as learning about the world at large and where we are in its history. And honestly, it is a story that doesn't pull any punches. Each character has so much personality and individuality behind them that you can't help but get behind them, whether they are sassy, stubborn, or just along for the ride. Well, all other than Rob. Yes, you are not a joy to spend time with, boy. After that, the game world will pull you in. It is so full of life with people walking around and plenty of people just to chat with. The sights are breathtaking. The first real city you get to explore is the dancing city of Florenceport, and it is beautiful. The backdrop is colourful and the city itself is bustling with life. It instantly transports you into this world. And what a world it ends up being. Not only are the areas large, but you have a quest reward board that genuinely rewards you just for exploring and finding all the funny little things hidden around the maps. You can find buried treasure and hidden caves, as well as unique monsters and quests tucked away that you can only find if you fully jump into the world and decide to explore every single area. Even the cities themselves are huge and filled with hidden things worth spending the time to go out and find. One thing I really enjoy is how much wit and charm the game has. Each item has a unique blurb written about it, and some of the items you can pick up are hilarious. I loved the box flies when I first saw them, thinking they were a fun little enemy, and hours later, Shin sent me a screen cap of the boxing glove that you can pick up as loot afterwards, and I legit spat my drink out reading it. It isn't just the items, but you get a bestiary that fills up as you fight everything from low level mobs to the bosses. And everything? Well, everything but the lowly crab, I guess. Gets its own unique entry, and some of them are beyond hilarious. Man. Building a snowman is a popular hobby around Eldria in the winter, though not so much in Valandis. Here lives the Spore Man, a horrible fiend that evokes fear in every citizen with its hideous appearance. Never would anyone try and build a snowman, only to scare half the village away. He has a little face on his bottom half. Steeped in tradition, the Alforians gather in colonies high up in the mountains. Eager to stand apart from their fellow creatures down in the valleys, they don a curious garb and sound a mighty horn all day long, so that they may loudly taunt their daft neighbours below. The origin of Pookies is shrouded in folklore throughout the lands. However, a common theme could be seen in each tale. A Pookie is often described as a beloved toy of a child that got left behind and ended up being possessed by the child's spirit. As the spirit continues to search for home, it will latch onto any group that will allow it. Terrifying. Carrie is the fearless leader of the veggie group. These vegetables are no ordinary monsters. Someone has cast a powerful animation spell that can breathe life into any item. The scarecrow, which normally protects the farmer's vegetables from birds, was chosen by the veggies as their patron. As a point-and-click fan, I appreciate these little touches so much. They are the things that don't need to be added, but they add so much humour, and again, like exploring the areas, they are there for those who really dive deep into everything the game has to offer, whilst not being important if you just want to breeze through the game. It would also be criminal of me not to mention the music. Each area gets its own track, and all of them are great. They really set the tone for each new area you enter, and some of them are just super magical. I literally could sit here and listen to the music for hours. Also, then there is the seagull, who, is just there, loudly there, all the time. When it comes to the gameplay itself, for me at least, it is very unique. The battle system took me a few times to figure out, but it's given me some really interesting battles that for the first time in my life has made me think about buffs and playing safe instead of just sitting around and tanking everything. You have to juggle the attacks you're using to keep your attack bar in overdrive. If you go over the overdrive bar, then you will end up overheated, and the opponent's attacks will hit harder, and it could be end over for you. I actually really like this, as well as the fact that you give back your health and mana after every fight. Starting boss fights with your ultra move is also a nice touch, and the ultra moves themselves are really fun. The fact that you can tag in and out your characters as well to maximize your fights gives them a much grander feel than it probably would have had, and I really enjoy messing with my character order to figure out the best setup for each area. I mentioned the boss battles, and honestly, they are so much fun. Each boss is unique, and you have to figure out exactly what the twist to each boss is. They make you think. It isn't just beat this boss, but it actually puts extra thought into each boss. So far, nearly every boss battle had me rethink what I'm doing, and for me, tanking just doesn't work. I love the fights in the mines and the genie boss so much because they honestly made me sit down and think instead of just fighting it. One thing I'm not too sure about though is the leveling. You unlock your skills by getting shards. The skills themselves will then slowly level up during battles, but you can also spend your skill points to speed up the process. Your armor and weapons all need to be upgraded, which is the bit that annoys me a little bit. You seem to get the weapons often enough that upgrading them seems pointless, and very often the next weapon is just as good as the last weapon fully upgraded. The one thing that I give it is that it's fun to add crystals to give the weapons and armor more defense, offense, or status effects, but I'm not really that into the leveling system at the moment. It also took me too long to figure out what I was doing as well. I didn't see the point in upgrading things and ended up on the back foot more often than not until I just decided to go full into upgrading everything. When you do get your head around all of this though, the game is so much fun to play. For seasoned JRPG fans, they'll probably find it simple enough from the off. For people not into them, it does take a little bit, but it's worth waiting for. Honestly though, for me, 100% it is the characters that make this game a must-play. They are so wonderfully written, and I've generally been left speechless unraveling their stories more often than not. I'm about 20 hours into the game so far, and honestly I would recommend this game to fans and non-fans of the genre. It's such a fun adventure that is so beautiful to look at, and honestly, I think it is a must-play of 2023. But that is it for today. Thank you as always for watching. I'm not playing Chained Echoes on stream, but I play a wide variety of games on my Twitch stream over at twitch.tv/worker89. Twitch is my main focus, so I'd love to see new faces over there. Whilst I focus mainly on point and clicks and story heavy games, I do play pretty much anything, and last year I did a full playthrough of Final Fantasy IX on the stream, which is all archived here on my YouTube. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe over here on YouTube, and I'll be back soon with more ramblings about video games. Thank you, and bye bye.